Hey guys, and welcome to the first lecture video on core Python programming. This video is about learning why we want to learn programming and also why we chose to use Python. So let's get started. Okay. So firstly, why should you learn to code? Well, obviously, learning to code, you are able to work faster and more efficiently because, as you know, doing calculations by your hand is much slower than using a calculator. It's the same thing, but learning to code, you are able to do a lot more stuff than just using a calculator. Also, you can discover creative solutions because computers allow you to do things very quickly. And with the gain of speed, you can then come up with some more interesting solutions by taking advantages of what computers are good at. And why should you learn to code? They are applied in many different applications. So you might think that computer science and software engineering is the majority of people doing coding, but in fact, when you actually find jobs, you will come across various coding and programming skills used in different disciplines. Things like biomedical engineering, civil engineering, mechatronics engineering, software engineering, mechanical engineering. So all of these are engineering principles, but this also applies to other areas where you will find a lot of softwares being used in businesses, finance, accounting, even people working in psychology are now relying on people knowing how to do programming so that they can write up so they can process data for their scientific research more quickly, things like that. So coding and the skill to code and program is actually being used everywhere. So it is very good to know. So it is a very good idea to know how programs can be created and use it for your own purposes. So the next question is, why do we want to learn Python? There are lots of languages out there. To name a few, like Java, C, C++, Rust, and so forth. Well, Python, out of all those, well, obviously there are pros and cons when it comes to choosing a language, but most likely that for you, this is your first language to learn. And so Python is actually one of the most easiest language that you can get started with. So Python is a great starting point, where also Python is used very widely in various applications. So it gives you a lot more choices in terms of what you can do with it. Python is obviously free. It's sometimes referred to elegant, definitely powerful. You can watch the YouTube video linked over there. And very relevant. It's used in many workplaces, and it's very useful in terms of allowing you to learn programming concepts fairly quickly with its much more simple syntax. So in addition to that, it's easy to learn, as mentioned before. Simple syntax provides access to powerful libraries. So there are a lot of people who work in this space, and to make your life easier, they already write a lot of what we call libraries, which you can just use by embedding them into your program. So one of the mottos in computer science is do not reinvent the wheel. So if you find yourself doing some programming and writing things that are repetitive, then there must be a better way of doing it. And it is most likely that if you're doing something simple, somebody might have already written that function for you, so you just have to import it and use. So it is all about trying to make enhance the efficiency of how we utilize different things and use that in everyday use. Okay, so a few different points to make in terms of why learn Python. Well, firstly, code that is understandable as plain English or human readable, almost. So here's a couple of examples here. Human, if there is 4 in 1, 2, 3, or 4, please print there is 4. If you write that in Python syntax, you can read it like this: if 4 in the brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, print there is 4. So you can see that there is a very large similarities between the two, and the people who invented Python has worked a lot trying to make it as easy as possible for humans to translate natural language into coding. So there's the benefit of very close similarities from coding to human readable language, and mostly in English. Secondly, an easy and intuitive language just as powerful as major competitors. So Python was built with the goal of getting rid of the complex and keeping only the necessary functionalities of the past programming languages. And as a result, it is easier to read, write, and learn than most other major programming languages like Java, C, C++. So later, you will actually have to learn Java and C, C++ if you're in the computer science degree. But you will find that the syntax is much more complex, more limited in terms of how flexible you can write code, and things like that. So there are pros and cons to these, of course. Python is actually written in C, and C language is really fast compared to Python. It is known that Python is about 10 times slower than C, but in practice, that's a good trade-off. For the simplicity comes with the performance in most cases. Number 3, it's open source, so anyone can contribute to its development. Python is free, open, and multi-platform. Basically, if you have a PC, Mac, Linux, or whatever you have, you can use it. Whereas some languages can be quite restrictive on where you can use it. It has a lot of, as mentioned before, the libraries and packages that comes with. So it is very easy to just import them. You install and import them and just use them on the fly. Next, suitability for everyday tasks, allowing for short development times. Because of its simplicity, making a program, given your idea, it's very simple. You can do that on the fly, which can be done very quickly. And these are not just trivial tasks like just doing some calculations, but it can be used in things like data mining, data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, web development, web framework, and the list goes on. Because Python, because of its versatility, its application is actually very broad. Okay. And fifth point, Python is used in the world's largest and most sophisticated companies. So everybody heard about Google, Amazon, Facebook, eBay, Dropbox, etc. The ones that are listed on the slides up there. Well, it's being used by those companies to develop their software, right? So if you are very good at Python, you can definitely be hired as a software engineer by those companies, as well as there are lots of other unlisted companies in that box that utilizes Python. Okay. And number 6, Python is the fastest growing programming language. This trend is still very relevant, as you can see from the charts over there. Okay, so you can see that while other languages you see it's quite steady or going down, the Python people are using it more and more, so asking more questions about it, so it keeps on going up. Okay, so a lot of people are using it. You can use it everywhere. It's very versatile. So definitely it's a good idea to learn Python as a starting point. So that's it for this video. Hopefully that gave you a good idea why you should learn to code and program, as well as why we want to start with Python. Okay, otherwise I'll see you in the next video. Bye.